tonight I won't let that out. Gonna make myself forget about you, baby. Gonna make my head forget your name. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna dance the pain away. Forget your name. Oh yeah. Feel it in my body. Feel it in my feet. And it feels so good inside. Don't need anybody. I just need the beat. I just wanna dance all night. I don't want to remember everything you did. I'm done with the hurt inside. Feel it in my body. Feel it in my feet. And it feels so good inside. And I always wanna feel like this. I close my eyes and all my troubles fade away. I was once got so deep into play. But tonight I won't let that out. Gonna make myself forget about you, baby. Gonna make my head forget your name. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna dance the pain away. Forget your name. Yeah. Gonna make myself forget about you, baby. Oh, gonna make my head forget your name. 'Cause tonight I'm gonna dance the pain away. Forget your name. Forget your name. Gonna make myself forget about you, baby. Gonna make my head forget about your name. Yeah, yeah.
Want to unlock all the ways and all the secrets in which AI can help your business? Well, you got to tune into this episode because I'm going to be interviewing my guest who has perfected the art of how to use ChatGPT for business owners. Welcome to Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm Christine Vartanian, an attorney turned personal style expert and image consultant. As the founder of Jade House of Style, I am passionate about unveiling the inner confidence of my clients by developing their personal style and dressing them for success. But is getting dressed up still important in our virtual world? Well, that's where my experience can help with what I call Waist Up Wardrobe. Waist Up Wardrobe is a podcast for all things you need to conduct an outstanding Zoom meeting. It's about how to dress for the camera, but it's not just about the clothes. It's about everything you need to know to show up on brand and professionally for the camera. Join me in the Waist Up Wardrobe studio to discuss how to navigate this virtual world and dominate from behind the desk. Good morning, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. It's wonderful to have you back here. As you have noticed, my voice is a little bit gone, but it has not stopped us from moving forward live with the show. And I just want to say thank you for being here for another episode. We are very excited about today because it's like a cutting edge show. We're on the cutting edge of how we're going to be using AI in business. And we have a guest here today who's going to give us a lot of the tips, tricks, and hacks to understanding this topic better. I want to say thank you to Rick Moscoso, my producer, who's always in the production room making everything work seamlessly. And today he did not pop up his, there he is. Hi, Rick. And thank you to you who always join us and either join us live or watch us on the replay. I will say that we are on iTunes, so you can catch us, audibly if you couldn't watch the show when you're taking that walk on the beach, or you can tune in later on Facebook and watch a replay. But we are on those platforms and you can rate us and review us as well. So if you're inclined to do that, please do. And let's just begin. I want to introduce our guest today. Our guest today, John Mendez, is a serial entrepreneur. He is a realtor, investor, and podcast host. And he's a social media expert. John has a deep passion for really helping people achieve a life of abundance through their businesses and through the power of the mind and social media. And today he's going to be talking to us about all the innovations and all the new projects that he has and programs that he's creating around AI and specifically ChatGPT. So his genius is empowering, others to obtain this financial freedom with these tools. So please help me welcome John Mendez. Hi, John. How are you?
Hey, Christine. Super excited to be here. Really love the what you got going on with the waist up wardrobe because uh, sheesh, at least the pandemic has been feels like my entire life almost because I'm still pretty young. So all I've known is in the I guess in the professional world is waist up wardrobe lifestyle because
That's
my whole
right.
I guess professional experience has been on Zoom for the most part. Now we're just now this year getting back to normal.
It's so funny you say that because when I started Waist Up Wardrobe during the pandemic, when people were not, going out to work, they were instead on camera. And it's so funny because people told me, well, is that going to last? And honestly, this will never go away. We'll
Mhm.
still go into the traditional office, but I don't think being on Zoom will ever go away because it makes life so much easier, don't you think?
100%. It's a lot more convenient. You connect with more people at a farther reach, but and I would never say it's a substitute to in person, but it's definitely something where it's a lot easier to stay in touch with people and then do amazing stuff like what you have going on here with this podcast and this live show.
Absolutely. And it's you're absolutely correct. Like I wouldn't have been able to do some of the speaking engagements that I've done across the world because before the pandemic and things so many more possibilities now. So, and
Mm.
with the innovation of AI that we're going to dig deep into because I know you're really creating these programs and workshops around this and you really have been um really well versed in this and I want to give the audience all the genius that goes with that. But first, we want to do 60 seconds to get to know you because that's what we do here on Waist Up Wardrobe. I'm going to ask you just general question. Just tell me, like, what right off the bat, what comes to you. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Cats,
Sounds good.
cats or dogs?
Cats.
Tell me why.
All right. So long story short, because as you know, I'm also a podcaster, so we're very long-winded. At least we tend to be. So long story short, one of my boys from back in high school, he had two kittens from this girl that he knew because she had just had I guess, a fresh litter of like a bunch of little kittens, and so he had two of them. His mom just started bugging out on him, got super angry, and he was like, "John, I can't have them at my house. Can you just watch them for a couple days?" I'm like, "Okay." So I watched the cats, and by day two, I already fell in love with one of them. There was one that was like super chill and like just like I wouldn't want to say useless, but compared to the one I kept, right? The cat I kept, his name is Dexter after Dexter's Laboratory. He was like at 6 weeks old, climbing cages and just doing stunts. And I was like, this cat is a daredevil. I like this guy. And long story short, he ended up giving one away. And the other one, he was like, John, well, if you want, you could like keep one. And I was like, you know what? Why not? And so I decided to keep him, and I named him Dexter after Dexter's Laboratory because my cat is a genius. He learned how to open a door at 3 months old, and so
Wow.
now he just opens the door, walks outside, goes things around, and whenever he's hungry, opens the door, walks inside, and that's why I like cats.
Oh my God. That's a great story. So you ended up keeping Dexter and you still have Dexter?
Of course, he just turned 3 this past May, and this past week he brought me a birdie.
Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that story. Okay. I know you're a podcaster. So my question to you is live podcasting or pre-recording? Which do you prefer best?
So I've done pre-recorded simply out of convenience, but I would love to get to doing live in-person podcasts. Like ideal world, right? When I have the money to start flying people out and stuff like that. Yeah. I would love to be live and in person. I think that would just it's a lot easier to connect. It's a lot more raw. You don't have to worry about editing and post-production. And I feel like that's something that we're lacking in this world. But as I said, for sake of convenience, pre-recorded right now.
Uh-huh. This show is live, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You're on live. We can see you and hear you. Okay. One more question. Tell us about the hair.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I was supposed to wash my hair this morning so my curly hair could be out. But long story short, I didn't know I had curly hair up until about 8th grade. And the story behind that was I used to get like a two on the top for all my guys that go to the barber shop. They would know about this, but I used to get a two on the top, one on the side, like super plain haircut, no style or design at all, no fade or anything, just a two on the top, one on the side. So just like picture a buzz cut. And it wasn't until my 8th grade year, one of my boys, who was like actually the same guy that I got the kitten from, he had this one style of fade it's called a taper fade. Long story short, he ended up getting that, and I was like, "Yo, bro, you have to tell me, like, what did you ask your barber to get that?" And he was like, "John, just next time you go to your barber, go ask for a taper fade, a taper fade." I'm like, "Okay." So I went to the barber shop. I got myself a taper fade, and at this point in time, I didn't know my hair was curly, so I used to always just pick my hair out, and I had like this short fro, like a frizzy fro, no curls. And then one day I was walking to middle school, 8th grade year, and I had my good outfit on. I just got my fresh taper fade, and it was like a little like a mist slash rain. And I put my hoodie on, and when I got to school, my hair had already gotten a little wet and it was a little wavy. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, what is this? Why does my hair look like this? This is going to be horrible. And I walked in the homeroom and everyone's like, okay, John, like, I see you. I'm loving the new style. And that whole day, I just felt like a celebrity. And so that's when I realized that my hair kind of curled up. Fast forward a little bit. In high school, that's when I started to take care of it. I ended up cutting my hair and I got what's called waves. And that's when I started to look into more about hair care. And from there, I started about hair products. I started testing out tons of different shampoos, conditioners, et cetera, et cetera. And it ended up leading to my junior year. I started growing out my hair. And I used to have in high school like 3 different friends to do my hair at any given point in time. While I was at college, I had pretty much a friend to wash my hair, and then in the same dorm another friend to braid my hair. So I started going all into hair care. And then once I got into real estate, people, so before I cut it, I mean, you've seen my headshot. My hair used to be
I
massive.
did. That's
I
what
had a
made,
massive curly fro.
yeah.
And so I started just running with it, and that's kind of how like the hair came about. But as I said, I didn't know I had curly hair up until 8th grade year, and I didn't really start taking care of it until almost like sophomore year, is when I really started paying attention to my hair and taking care of it.
Wow. Well, I can relate because I have a seventh grader who now lets his hair grow because he likes it curly. So it's really funny, the kind of the young men with their hair and when they start discovering how they want to wear it. But that's a really great story, and thank you for sharing that. It really helps us like get to know your personality, and your hair is part of your personality because that was the first thing I noticed when I saw your headshot. Okay. So you're here today to talk to us about ChatGPT. I know you've been doing a lot of research. I know you have workshops and things designed around it, and you've been educating a lot of people around it. So tell us, like in general, how you use ChatGPT, or just tell us the nuggets from what you've been creating.
In a 10,000-foot view, I use ChatGPT as an amplifier, not as a substitute, right? So I already have tons of like a bunch of ideas as to what I kind of want to do, and then I just help use it to amplify that and bring it to life a little bit more and
Mm,
get that ball rolling, right? I
yeah.
don't use it to replace me. I just use it to help me out where I just need a little kickstart. So, for example, helping plan events. I'm literally hosting an event a couple hours from right now, like in 3 hours. I have a networking event that I'm doing because I turned 22 this Saturday. So I, instead of doing like a birthday party, I decided to do like a birthday networking happy hour. So I
Oh,
had ChatGPT help me plan that. I have it sometimes help me out with like sales pages. Uh, I have it sometimes help me with email copy. I have it sometimes help me with content ideas, video scripts. And then when I'm helping other people, I use it for just a bunch of ideas, whatever they want to use it for. I just try to find ways to kind of bridge the gap between what they want to do and the idea that they have.
yeah, well, what I love about what you said is that it's not a substitute for you as a human being, but it can amplify what you have to say. It can help you give more depth of information, perhaps. But so, what you were listing about the ways you've used it, I think those are, you're right. You can use it in so many different ways. But can you tell us how you use it to set up your networking event? Because that one I don't see.
Yeah, so how I did that was, so I knew, for example, I wanted to host an event for my birthday, right? I knew I wanted to host a happy hour event. So there's this tool called Mixly that I use for RSVPs. So on there, I use ChatGPT to create the pretty much this description for it, right? And I told her pretty much the date, the time that I was going to do it. And then I had to generate some ideas as to what I should theme for the event, some like little fun activities I could do at the event, brainstorm ideas for that. And then from there, I had to help me create the description. Then I had to help me create a about like 6 emails, if I'm not mistaken, of emails to send my little newsletter to get people to register, right? And then I had to create another set of emails for people that are already registered to remind them to show up.
Yeah.
I had to help me come up with. I was doing collab videos with people, so some of my friends that were going to the event, had them pretty much I created a script with ChatGPT, right? And I had them record themselves saying the script. Then I would record myself saying the script. Then my video editor would edit the videos. So I had ChatGPT create the scripts for that, and then I would collab with them on Instagram, because when you collab, it shows up on both pages, right? So then
Yeah.
I would upload the videos, collab with them, so that their audience can also see that I'm hosting an event. What else I use it for this event specifically? That's for the most part. That was it. But
Yeah. That's
yeah.
amazing. That's amazing. And see, it's interesting because it's so new, people don't really realize just the depth and breadth of how you can use it and still have your human touch in it. It's not like a complete substitute, but look how many different things it helped you do and create. And I would love for Rick to chime in. I'm sure he has a question about this because this is awesome. Like just everything you listed, just what you did, the steps you took. But as Rick comes on here, I just wanted to ask you one more thing in relation to this. What would be the difference between just doing a Google search and trying to create this content on ChatGPT?
So the main difference from my understanding is Google, like there's already tons of things on the internet right now. And Google just pretty much points you to the things that rank the highest. So like um let's say pretty much you want to say what's the best places to go and get food, right? There's already things that are on the internet. Google kind of just aggregates that, and the thing that ranks the highest, it will show you in that order, right? But with ChatGPT, let's say you wanted to get, what's the best things to eat. If it knows a little bit about you, like let's say you put in some information like, hey, I like to eat Mexican food. I love spicy stuff. Um, then you can ask ChatGPT, what should I get to eat? And then it'll use that and it'll give you actual suggestions itself based
Yeah,
off the content you put in. Right. So
yeah,
it actually give you an answer, whereas Google will point you to answers. Right. And then you have to go through all the different answers. Where ChatGPT, to my best understanding, is like it'll actually give you some answers. And on that food topics, if you're on the paid plan of ChatGPT, it actually there's something called plugins, and probably get into that a little bit later. Long story short, it's like Chrome extensions, but for ChatGPT. And so with
yeah.
the plugins, there's one called Tasty. So it literally has ingredients and food recipes from Tasty itself. And then there's another plugin for Instacart. So you could like Instacart stuff from ChatGPT directly.
Unbelievable.
Hmm.
I know
Are,
Rick has
are you
ideas
are you
about
saying this? Is this a is this an equivalent to? Sounds like a souped up version of a search engine.
Like pretty much, kind of, sort of, where like a search engine, it kind of, as I said, aggregates. But ChatGPT, it's trained on a massive, massive, massive pool of data,
Hmm.
and then it pretty much takes the information that it's needed to answer whatever question that you ask it from that massive pool of data that it can it can go back and, I guess, refer from.
Yeah,
So as you interact with it more frequently, then is it intuitive enough to kind of understand or anticipate your tendencies and
Yeah, so
individuals' tendencies?
so there's multiple ways to go about it. Now on the free plan, they have access to what's called custom instructions. And with custom instructions, you can also you can actually put your tendencies in there. Like you can tell it for us. Let's keep it on this topic of business, right? For business owners, let's say you have a business, you have a small mom and pop jewelry shop, right? And you could tell it about your business, where you're located, a little bit about your brand, et cetera, et cetera. And then you can also, in the custom instruction, there's two boxes. So in the top one, you pretty much tell it about you, your brand, your mission, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever information you want to tell it about yourself. And then in the second box, you'll tell it pretty much how ChatGPT should respond. And
Hmm.
so you can actually, as you said, like have ChatGPT kind of trained a little bit on your tendencies, on your brand, on your mission, on the things you believe and stand for, and then have ChatGPT create its responses in a way. Let's say you talk in a friendly, casual tone. You can have ChatGPT, you know, have it respond in a more friendly, casual tone.
Yeah. We, Rick, Molly Mahoney, we had done a little workshop on Chat GPT. And one of the things that she was teaching us was to actually have a conversation with your robot, with your AI person on Chat GPT, like say, hi, good morning, and kind of let them know what your personality is and how you ask questions and how you respond. And that kind of, like the Chat GPT spits out in the same tone because they kind of get to know you. Does that resonate at all with you, John? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, 100%. And for ChatGPT, like I spent a lot of time on like certain. So in ChatGPT, you can have what's called conversations, and in each conversation thread, it pretty much starts like a new thread. So let's say there's two conversation threads, and one I talked about myself, right, and then the other one I'm starting fresh. It's not going to take the information from the first conversation thread and pick up in the second one, right?
Mm,
The only way to do that is kind of using the custom instructions, which I mentioned earlier, right?
yeah,
So before custom instructions came out, because that's a relatively new thing, I would like just go all in and probably before I even prompted ChatGPT at all, just tell it about myself and who I am and say like, all right, here is a couple of the people I'd like to pretty much write as if I'm. So let's say one person I use is Dan Kennedy, right? He's a big time direct response marketer. So I'll tell ChatGPT to write as if it was Dan Kennedy. And then it'll write as if it were Dan Kennedy. And then from there, I'll then tweak it myself to make it sound like me. So instead of
yeah,
sometimes, so I train ChatGPT to clarify on like who I am, my brand, my mission, and then I'll tell it to write like someone who I admire, or someone whose style I'd like, and then from there, after ChatGPT creates that, because it's easier to have it speak as if it's someone that's already trained on versus me. And then from there,
yeah.
I'll tweak it afterwards. So that's the way I've used it. And as I said, for me, Dan Kennedy, he's like in the marketing game, like one of the goats. And I'm pretty sure he writes a lot better than me. So usually I just have it right as if it were ChatGPT. Imagine it's, as if it were Dan Kennedy, and then go from there. And then I'll tweak it afterwards.
So, and that works. It has worked.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is familiar with who that is just based on the information that it has within it.
Yeah, because Dan Kennedy, he was big in like the later 1900s.
Yeah,
Like I forget what exact time, like decade he was like really like super big in. So ChatGPT right now it's trained up to 2021, if I'm not mistaken. At
yeah,
least at the time we're recording this, who knows? By the time this really starts, maybe a week or two from now, it starts growing even more. The data pool that is based off of, but um, as long as they were big before 2021, right? It'll probably be someone that ChatGPT can mimic very well. And another thing I do as well is like instead of having ChatGPT write it up, I'll write up the first draft and then I'll say, "Hey, what would Dan Kennedy think about this?" Right? So sometimes I say write as if you were Dan Kennedy, and other times I'll write it up myself and say, "Okay, what would Dan Kennedy think about this? Give me some suggestion and feedbacks." Have it give me suggestion and feedbacks, and then I'll say, "Okay, now implement them." And
yeah.
then it'll rewrite it.
That's great, and it does work. Like it gets it. It
Yeah.
understands what you're saying. Yeah,
Yeah.
Rick, remarkable, isn't it?
That's awesome. That's an awesome tool because not a lot of us people that are online or marketing behind the scenes. It's like we're not the best writers, and sometimes not as creative as people that we look up to. And so this is a great tool to emulate somebody else and but yet put it in your own words, like John was explaining.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is too, even like people who are great writers, right? It is so efficient. Like when I've done some of the shows and I've wanted to, I'd say, I tell ChatGPT, give me 10 questions I would ask an expert, blah, blah, blah. And it gives me a great start, and then again, just like John was saying, I'll put my twist on it. But I mean, that saves so much time, right? Of brainstorming. And so I don't know if that's good or bad, but everything has a good side and a bad side, right? So with the advent of ChatGPT, John, do you think it can be used in any industry? And like, what's the best thing about it?
I think so. When I talk about ChatGPT, I like to use the analogy of like going bowling for the first time. Right? When you go bowling for the first time, there's usually isn't any railing, like actual bowling, not like mini bowling, all right? Like the actual bowling, there's not railings on the side, right? It's not like an arcade. And it could be very easy to when you start bowling to get it on the, either gutter, right? And then not hit anything at all. And that's kind of like ChatGPT, right? When you go in there, there isn't any railings at all. Like you could use it for literally anything,
Yeah.
which is why most people don't use it at all because it's so overwhelming. Because you can literally go in there and, as I said, if you want to go on Instacart and get an ingredients list for a keto diet, you could do that at a pretty high level. If you want to go and ask it to create, be your business partner and help you become like, have ChatGPT be like the COO of your business, you could do that. If you need help with marketing, SEO, stuff like that, you could do that. If you need help coming up with 10 ideas for your significant other on your anniversary, you could do that. So like the use cases are pretty much bound by your creativity and how you think you could apply it. I'll give you an example. I was talking to one of my friends. He's a real estate agent over in Syracuse. He's like, John, so we're licensed with Keller Williams. He was like, John, like I really want to use ChatGPT to help me run my business, but I want it to be like trained on like the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book that we have at Keller Williams. Like I wanted to be trained off the MREA book. And I was like, bro, listen, no problem. What you want to do is, right, you take ChatGPT, the MREA book, you download it as an ebook, right? Download it as a PDF. Then ChatGPT has a plugin that analyzes PDFs. You have ChatGPT analyze the ebook. Now it's trained on all the Keller Williams models. And then from there, boom, now you have your Keller Williams trained ChatGPT bot to help you run your business based off all the models that KW teaches, right? I thought of that on the spot. I just knew a couple of the tools and let my creativity run wild. And as I said, I just bridged the gap between what he wanted to do and the idea.
Yeah.
That's
It's that
awesome. That's
educating.
awesome.
It's that educate. You have to educate the tool, and then the tool will just blow it up for you. Basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you have to give it some context and stuff. But it's like, if you give someone who never built a house before a wrench, like and a hammer, like what are they gonna do with it? Right? They never built a house before. And so you have to play around with it, right? You have to get your reps in. You have to go in there and, ask some questions and figure some stuff out. But then once you learn how to use the tool, as I said, that same wrench, you could use it to, help you with a house, help you, fix the plumbing, help you with a whole bunch of things if you know how to use the tool properly.
Yeah. So is there anything you don't like about ChatGPT?
Yeah, I'd say one of the things I don't like is, as I said earlier, the conversations don't carry over. So it's
Yeah.
like, especially before custom instructions came out, but even still, there's a little bit lacking. But every time you have to tell about your brand and your, who you are and your visions and about yourself, and that kind of gets tiring after a little while. So it would be nice if like the conversations kind of did pick up after each other where you left off, or at least have some of the same information, so you don't have to constantly type in your brand and who you are, etc. But now with custom instructions, kind of solve that. Also, another thing, it's like with plugins, there's more plugins that I could keep up with at this point. Like when I first started using plugins, it was like 7 plugins, and then now there's like 100. I think it's like 110. Last time I checked, there was a little over 100 pages of plugin. Each page has 8 plugins, and so it's like I'm not sure how on earth I'm supposed to use all of these, but I guess it's good to have, I guess. But as I said, it can get very overwhelming, and it takes a lot of time. And then sometimes with especially for example, when I was planning this event, when I first started planning it, and at the same time, I think I was planning like a webinar. And with ChatGPT 4, I think you're limited now. It upgraded, I think, now to 50 inputs. But before it was like 25. So after like 15 minutes, I have to wait 3 hours for it to get another set of 25 responses, and I would just be using it because, as I said, when I'm in the planning and brainstorming phase, I'm just typing up, asking questions, trying to brainstorm ideas and brain dump. And so I use it a lot more heavy. Like once I already planned something out, I dive back a little bit. um but when I'm in the planning stage, it's like I'm just constantly asking questions, thinking about different ideas, and it was just like constantly I have to wait 3 hours. Like there was one day I had the chat GPT limit pop up like 3 or 4 times because I started in the morning, then I started to use it again later in the day, and then in the afternoon, and then in the evening. I was just, you know what, I'll just pick up tomorrow. But
Yeah.
that's probably like the main things I don't like as of right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so new and cutting edge that I think that's all going to be resolved as we continue to use it. But
Yeah.
what is like one secret about ChatGPT that isn't obvious that you discovered that you
hmm
can tell us about?
It sounds so dumb and so simple, I promise you. But just after any time you have like a complex prompt, just at the end of it, before you hit enter, add "Do you understand?" question mark.
Okay.
That's it.
What
Like
does that
that's
do?
it. Literally, it asks ChatGPT if it understands. And then instead of, because there's been so many times out, because when we're typing stuff out and we speak, we understand what we're trying to get across. But we have to remember that we're literally talking to a robot. Like we're typing into a robot. And so however the robot interprets your whatever you typed in, that's how they're going to respond. So there's been plenty of times where I ask ChatGPT to do something and it'll go answer it based off of its interpretation of what I said and not what I wanted to say. Because we're not always the best at, getting things across. And then on top of that, we have to get it across and then figure out how to prompt it so that ChatGPT understands it. And I don't have any experience in software or technology at all. Like I'm not a programmer, I'm not a developer. Like I learned how to prompt just by asking a ton of questions and kind of figuring out the manual way. So it's like there were so many times where I'll type something in and ChatGPT just go on a complete hiatus doing something I didn't even ask it to do. And so at the end of every prompt, when it's like if you say create a 5-minute video script, that's pretty straightforward. All right. But if have a longer prompt, this at the end of it asks, "Do you understand?" question mark. And then another step I do is, if so, provide me example. And I said based on the example, if I say it's good, we'll continue. If I say it's not, I'll correct you. But that's just like a longer version. But it's just like, do you understand? If so, give me an example, and then we'll get started. And that has saved me so much time from ChatGPT going on tons of tangents because it would just give me a quick example, boom, 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 a couple seconds. And then after that, I was like, okay, they understood what I was asking it, right? Now let's run. And that saves a lot of time.
Well, with ChatGPT understanding what you're asking of it, it really depends on the context in which you present the input, right? The information you're putting in. So basically, you're asking it if you put it in a way that like if they could see what's in your mind, basically, it could see what's in your mind, what you really want out of this, correct?
Exactly. Because some of the prompts could get pretty long. Like
Yeah.
I mentioned before we hit record the Godfather prompt I told you about. That's like 3 paragraph long, like for prompt. So it's like, and it's like multifaceted, right? So it's like, if I were just to type it in and then have it run wild, it may get it, right? Or it may not. But I'd rather just save myself some time by just typing in "Do you understand?" up front and then going through instead of having ChatGPT, generate a bunch of randomness and then I like, hey, that's not what I wanted. There's a ton of time to type into ChatGPT. That's not what I meant. That's not what I wanted. Or where did you get that from? Hallucination is the word I was looking for. ChatGPT hallucinates. That's like the technical term, I believe, for when ChatGPT goes on a tangent.
Oh, really?
If I'm not mistaken, that's the technical word for it, hallucination. And so
Wow.
that's why I always ask, do you understand?
But the
That's
thing
awesome.
is, does ChatGPT understand what understanding is? That's that. So when you say, "Do you understand?"
Yeah.
I'm wondering how it processes that because it just, I mean, it would say yes or no, or would it give you a
So
long explanation?
So I usually say, if so, provide an example right after. So I'll say, do you understand? If so, provide an example. And then based on whatever I asked it, then if it does it correctly, it'll give me an example of exactly what I asked it to do. And if it doesn't understand it, well, then I know right away. It's like, hey, that's not what I was asking. and then I'll just tweak it from there. But I always add, if you do on, if yes, right, provide an example. So let's say I'm creating a video script. I want to create a video script on, how to use ChatGPT for small business owners that are just getting started in entrepreneurship. I say, make sure the video has an engaging hook, follow this storytelling framework, and then add a very intriguing, a compelling call to action. As I said, this prompt is starting to get a little bit longer now, right? Because I'm adding all this extra details, right? And then I start telling it a little bit about my target audience, and then all in one prompt, right? So I got this big prompt, and then if I just hit enter, it might screw it over. But if I ask, do you understand? And if so, provide an example, then when it generates that video script for me, it's going to talk about, using ChatGPT for small business owners, knowing that my target audience is 20 to 25-year-olds. This is a random example, 20 to 25-year-olds, and that are located in Stanford, right? And if so, that video script will be talking to small business owners ages 20 to 25 in Stanford and talking about how to use ChatGPT to start up their business. If it didn't understand the problem, it would probably go off on a little bit of a tangent and maybe create a video script, but the ideal avatar might be off, or the framework for the video. And if you use ChatGPT enough times, even if you prompt it correctly the first time, like I have prompts where I use it to create video scripts, and all I do is put in a topic, and I already told ChatGPT to follow this framework. Every once in a while, it'll hallucinate and just create a video script without following the framework. And I say, hey, that's not how I wanted it. Make sure to use this framework, right? So even if you prompt it correctly the first time, if you use that conversation thread long enough, eventually it might hallucinate. So that's why I always ask it, do you understand? If so, provide an example. And then eventually that helps stop the hallucination a little bit. But even when it does happen, I say, hey, remember when I said use this framework? Now please rewrite that script again using the framework I mentioned.
Yeah. Well, that's a great tip, and I'm gonna give that a try. Rick, what do you think about that?
Well, this is all this is all great. I'm just looking at. I just happen to have assign a login to ChatGPT, and I had it a while ago. I totally forgot about it. Now I've been
Yeah.
I've been looking at it as you guys are talking, trying some of these things, and it's like it's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it really is. I mean, we've already established that you can use ChatGPT for any type of business, and it makes entrepreneurial life so much easier. We've already established that. But tell us, John, how you use it for your in the real estate industry specifically. I know you gave us an example of downloading the PDF, but is there anything else that you can give us in terms of the specific way you use it?
Yeah. So for real estate specific, right? Because I'm mainly teaching realtors how to use it, because I stopped buying and selling, like helping people buy and sell houses. So one of the things that you could easily do is create a listing description with it, right? Nice and easy. But that's something I feel like a lot of realtors, and I was talking to some realtors the other day, I feel like people are trying to catch on. So do you mind if I get a little high level with you guys and give you right? If you want to create content, so to get on a little bit of a philosophical tangent, I promise I'll put it all together and make it make sense. But when you think of the word omnipotent, right? Someone who's all powerful, right? Their thoughts and their realities are one and the same, right? When they think, that is reality, like that just is, right? There's no time delay in between. So someone who's omnipotent, there's no time delay between when their thoughts and when the reality happens, right? And so with ChatGPT and the help of Canva, I pretty much found a strategy to pretty much, I wouldn't say become omnipotent, because I would never go that far, but come really close to and help you create an insane amount of content in seconds. And a lot of the times with marketing agencies, they'll charge you an arm and a leg just to post templated Canva images. And my whole thing is, you don't have to pay for an agency, right? Like you can create content at scale in minutes. If you just have 10 minutes or so, you can probably create close to a few months worth of content. And so this is exactly how, right? Because my whole goal is to really enlighten people to using this technology so that they don't have to pay for marketing agencies that just do the same thing that all the other agencies do. So what you do is, right, you'll go into ChatGPT, right? And this is one example I use, but I'd say, hey, ChatGPT, and this is going to be on the topic of real estate, but let's say I wanted to create a list of home buyer tips, right? What I want you to do is create a list, a column, right? In column 1 will be the topic. In column 2 will be a quick tip on that topic to help home buyers, get a property, or first-time home buyers get ready to, get their down payment. So it's going to create me a ton of list of home buyer tips for first-time home buyers, right? And I'll have it in a column, so it's nice and neat for me to look at. From there, what I would do, right, and is in Canva, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is on the paid plan, right? So in Canva on the paid plan, there's a feature called bulk create, right, on Canva. So the way bulk create works is you can attach data, you can import data into Canva, and then Canva will use that data to create a bunch of posts. Now, you could do this for a video. It's just a lot harder to explain on a podcast, especially when I don't have it in front of me, or a image to go alongside. So I'm gonna stick with a post for now. And so let's say you go on to Canva, you find a design template you like, right? And then you'll use what's called this bulk create feature, and then you'll copy and paste the little table that you had in ChatGPT into Canva. Let's say you have 30 tips for first-time home buyers created with ChatGPT. You'll upload that little table into Canva. Then with the bulk create feature, you'll be able to then, in seconds, you'll connect the data to the design, right? It's a lot simpler than it sounds when you actually have it in front of you. But you'll just connect the data to the template, and then from here hit generate, and then it'll instantly generate 30 different posts based on that template and design that you have. So all the different tips that you have will then be turned into its own post for you to upload and download, and they will all be pretty much using that same design. So back to what I said about being omnipotent and all powerful, like ChatGPT is great and all, but the only thing it can give you right now really is ideas, right? You still have to turn that into reality. You still have to go and turn that into a post, right? And where a lot of people get people don't have an issue with ideas. They have an issue with implementation and following through and taking action. But with now this Canva and ChatGPT combination, right, you have ChatGPT generate all the ideas in literal seconds. And then from there, you have the bulk create feature in Canva, which then turns those ideas that you once had into actual tangible things that you can download to your computer and then upload onto your social media accounts. And as I said, in minutes.
Yeah, amazing, right, Rick?
I had no idea that Canva could do that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, is that a feature that comes with the paid plan, or is that a plugin into Canva?
So that's a feature on the paid plan of Canva. So you can do this with the free plan of ChatGPT, but as of right now, Canva only has the bulk create feature on their paid plan. So if you wanted, right, you can literally create a free Canva account, use the 2-week trial or whatever week trial it is. I think it's 7-day trial, right? Have ChatGPT generate a whole bunch of ideas, right? And then go into Canva, use the paid plan trial to bulk create your year's worth of content. And then before the trial goes up, cancel your subscription, and then you already have the next year's worth of content pretty much ready to download on your computer, ready to go.
There's a hack for you. Well, that is really amazing information, like totally practical. We can go and put that right into action. And I know you are offering the audience with the hashtag ChatGPT and Shine something really cool. Can you tell us about that, John?
Yeah, so back in June, I did a big workshop, my first virtual workshop. And there, I mentioned it earlier about the Godfather prompt. So the big takeaways, right? You'll be able to learn how to become a prompting expert and use ChatGPT against itself, right?
Okay.
Because prompting is hard, right? Figuring out what to type ChatGPT is really hard, but using ChatGPT against itself is really easy. So I'll teach you how to prompt, right? I'll teach you how to create content calendars in seconds, so you can plan out months in advance what you want to post without having to put too much effort into. And then I actually, in the freebie, go into what I just talked about using bulk create and Canva live. And I actually walked through it in the workshop. I took someone from the audience and created pretty much almost 30 posts for them live in the workshop replay. So that's available for everyone for free, of course. Stopandstare.media facebook.com/ChatGPT, right?
Yes. I will.
And there you can pretty much learn all those things. And if you really want to use that bulk create feature, as I said, I've walked through it live there.
Okay. Well, we're going to put that link in the comments for it to live on the Facebook page. And if you are listening to the replay or here live, put in the hashtag ChatGPT and Shine so we can know to make sure you get that. And as we wrap up the show, John, thank you so much for being here. This was so informative. I mean, I've learned a lot. I know Rick, I'm sure, is like, can't wait to go start using ChatGPT. Give us the number one takeaway. If somebody was listening today and couldn't listen to the episode, what's the one thing they need to take away from this show today?
You won't be replaced by AI. You will be replaced by someone using it, though.
Oh,
That
that's
is
good.
good. Oh my! Wait, I need to
That's
write that
really
down.
good.
You won't be replaced by AI, just somebody using it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, that's profound. So this is so good. This is so good. I'm loving this show. Okay, give us a tip or two as we start really getting into the use of ChatGPT.
Yeah. So, garbage in, garbage out, right? Whatever you put into ChatGPT, whatever, that's exactly what you're gonna get out. So if you're gonna put in general prompts, ask it general questions, and then complain because everything that it spits out sounds exactly the same, that's on you, not on ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
And garbage in, garbage out. So get good at prompting. And as I said in the replay, the Godfather prompt, it's pretty much a prompt that helps you create prompts. Or if you're on the paid plan of ChatGPT, there's a plugin called Prompt Perfect, which helps you create really good prompts for whatever you need. Right. So you can either use that Godfather prompt I talked about in the freebie, or you can go on ChatGPT. It's only accessible on a paid plan. Plugins aren't allowed on a free plan. But on a paid plan, use the plugin Prompt Perfect to help you with the prompt. So that's the first tip. And then a second tip for you is when you're thinking of using ChatGPT, always give it context. So here's another good tip is whatever you're planning on using it for, as I said, whether it's for a video script, whether it's for Canva ideas, whether it's for planning an event, whether it's for whatever you could imagine it to be for, especially if you're using it for this, for business, for business use. Before you put in your prompt, another one good one is, as I said, is do you understand? Another one is before we get started, I want you to interview me and ask me a series of questions so yeah, you can get a deeper understanding of who I am, my vision, and my goals, or whatever, right? Something along those lines, right? It doesn't have to be exactly word by word. But before we get started, I would like you to interview me and ask me a series of questions so you can get a deeper understanding of my business and what I'm looking to accomplish, right?
Wow.
And then from there, as I said, whether you're using for a video script, planning an event, planning a giant giveaway, planning your 200th podcast episode special, whatever, it's ask it, I want you to interview me. And that way, now instead of having to type up everything, ChatGPT will ask you questions about yourself, like, what's the name of your company, et cetera, et cetera. As I said, custom instructions is one way to do it. But for me, I have a podcast and I have the marketing company, and those are two complete different things. So like if I put in my podcast, for the custom instructions, it's still it's not going to know anything about my marketing agency.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, if you have multiple companies, or if you want to just get a really deep understanding, have it interview you and then take some time to really think thoughtfully through those questions and then get into whatever you're getting into.
Wow, that's really good advice. Finally, an action item. So say somebody gets really inspired by listening to the show and they want to go and they want to really get started. What is one action item they can do that's easy?
The easiest action item, specifically with the use of ChatGPT, that I'll give you is go in there, right, and type in, here's my business plan, right? I want you to pretty much analyze and assess this and give me some suggestions as if you were, and then type in your favorite business person, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, whoever, right? And have it ask you a bunch of questions about your business And not to really use that to create a business plan, but to just get you to start thinking about your business, right? And deeply reflecting on, do you know what you do and why you're doing it and the strengths and weaknesses of what you're offering. And then from there, it'll help you start creating ideas and you'll find some weak points. And then from there, have ChatGPT helps you with those weak points. So let's say you have a business plan, right, or whatever, and you want to do only organic marketing, and you want to do YouTube and Facebook and stuff like that, and it comes up with a tip as to like, hey, maybe you should stick to one platform, right? Then use that to then go all in on whatever platform. But have ChatGPT fill in, help you find your blind spots, help
Yeah.
pretty much help you figure out where you're lacking and where you can do a little bit better in, and then use it for whatever that is, right? Because as I said, ChatGPT is like bowling with no guardrails. You could use it for everything, but you can get it easily stuck in the gutter and not do anything at all. So just start off by like, hey, I want you to ask me a series of questions. Here's my business plan, and I want you to, analyze it as if you were, let's say, Steve Jobs, and figure out where I can improve and start there just to kind of ease your way into using it. That way
Mm.
you're like, you can create a video script, but then if it sucks, you're not going to know if it sucks or not because you're
Yeah.
still not really good at using ChatGPT. So like
Yeah.
instead of having like using it to create something and then go upload it onto the internet where the public can see it and everything, just use it for something internal, right? That only you could see, and start there and play around with it. Have fun.
Very, very cool. Thank you so much, John, for all this genius. I mean, seriously, I'm going to go back and watch the show and listen. It's like so valuable. Thank you for your time. It was wonderful having you here. And there you have it, Waist Up Wardrobe Nation. This episode on ChatGPT, because we like to really bring you everything that you need, all the tools, all the conversations about how you can be the best entrepreneur you can be. And we're here every Thursday live at 1:30. I'm sorry, excuse me, at 11:30 Pacific time. Bring you a new fresh show. So join us next Thursday and bring a friend.
We are back. What happened here? Hold on a second.
I see
There we
you.
go.
I see you. Thank you, John. That was so incredible. Really, really highly educational. And you're doing a really phenomenal job just explaining things. And I'm sure your workshop is extremely valuable. So thank you for doing that. Thank you for offering it. And
Yeah, thank you.
let's stay in touch.
Definitely.
Hey,
I've been talking to a lot of realtors which tend to be on the more technologically inclined side. So I've been trying my best to keep everything I do and distill it down as simple as possible so that people can get you started using it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
John, I'd love to connect with you on that because I work with a lot of real estate agents out here on the West Coast,
Okay.
more on the production side. But I would love to um, have a further discussion with how I might be
Yeah.
able to use this in my business as well. So
Yeah, let's
let
do
me.
it, man. Let's hop on a call and brainstorm and come up with some ideas.
You have a online calendar that I can
Of
link up
course.
with, or is there?
Yeah, I got it on speed dial. 1 second.
I love it when people have things at their fingertips. It always
Oh
makes me go, oh.
yeah.
So another thing, John, I've been interviewing, this is our 147th episode, and I really have connected with so many great experts in different fields, with especially with Podmatch. And I'm trying to kind of put a community together of the people that I've met that I think would be really great to connect with and collaborate with and partner with and educate each
Mhm.
other with. And so I would love to include you in that email that I sent to them to see if you want to take part in it.
Yeah.
You can decide and let me know. Would that be okay?
I would love to get some more information on that. I'm all about collaboration,
Yeah.
especially in this podcasting space. It's feel like there's not too many of us that are one. Congrats to you making it over 100.
Yeah.
That's super impressive because, as you probably already know, most people don't. Right, so it's a small community in podcasting. So I would love to stay in touch, stay in contact, and just continue growing with each other.
Yes. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. You're very mature for a 22-year-old, but you're like this entrepreneur, and it's amazing. Good luck to you, and we'll be in touch for sure.
Sounds good. All right. Well, take care and
All right.
find a time. Let's hop on a call to
Yeah.
talk some AI and ChatGPT.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at your calendar right now, so I set something up for Tuesday.
All right. Sounds good. All right. See you
All
guys.
right,
Take
we'll
care.
talk to you then.
Bye.
Thank you.
John. That was really good.
That was awesome.
Yeah, right? That was
That was
so
really
awesome.
good. Yeah. It's kind of funny because I've had this tool ever since, we started hearing about it. I registered for it. I started playing with it, and it's like, okay, I need to carve out some time, really dig into this, and then totally forgot about it. And then
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, that's
Well,
right.
I got my feet wet with it with Molly. I mean, she's really big on it, and I mean, there have been some shows where I've actually just asked to give me some interview questions on this topic, and it was
Mhm.
literally spits out questions, and not all of them are on point, but like 90% of it works, and then I can restructure it, and it's really great. It
Yeah.
make life so much easier,
Oh
especially if
my
you're
God.
writing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we should do the speedy recap because
Yeah.
I have to run after that. So
Yep.
let's do
All right.
it.
Okay. Hold on a second. I know I was sitting here jotting down notes and then trying to get online with something that he was talking about, and it's like, oh shoot, where's that page where I can turn on the outro video?
I know, it's like, what is going on?
Yeah. I got distracted, but that's okay.
The live. Yeah, everything's
Yeah.
there.
All right. I'm gonna mute and you can go when you're ready.
Okay. Want to know all the hacks and I'm gonna start again. Want to know all the hacks and the secrets to using AI in your business, including ChatGPT, where you can ask it questions, get information from it, and actually create content for your. I'm gonna start over again. Want to unlock all the secrets and hacks and tips of how to use AI, specifically ChatGPT, in your business so that you can create content. Okay. Want to unlock all the secrets to using AI in your business, including ChatGPT, where you can. Oh my gosh, I can't focus here. Episode.
You're just so excited.
I know I am. Just can't get the words out. Want to unlock all the secrets to how to use ChatGPT in your business so that you can grow your business a little bit more efficiently? Is that good, or should I do it over again?
No, that's good.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Okay. In episode 147 of Waist Up Wardrobe. Wait. In episode 147 of Waist Up Wardrobe. In episode 147 of Waist Up Wardrobe, ChatGPT ME, the Waist Up Wardrobe weekly wrap up in a nutshell boiled down to this. The main takeaway that really enlightened us that our guest gave us was you won't be replaced by AI, but you will be replaced by somebody who is using AI. Remember that. Tip. Fixing the hair. Our guest also gave us a couple tips, but the number one tip that he told us was that garbage in is garbage out. So make sure when you're asking ChatGPT a question, when you're giving it a prompt, that you give it a lot of context and you give it some really good information of what you want it to spit out. And is that good for tip? And then I can pick up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And our guest was so wonderful to give us a free link. And our guest was so wonderful to give us a link to his workshop, and he's giving that to us complimentary. Anybody who puts in the hashtag ChatGPT and Shine that listens on the replay and puts that in will get this. It's actually living on the Facebook page. So go and listen to it because there's a lot of great genius in that workshop that you can benefit from to create great content for your business.
Good.
Finally, action item. With ChatGPT, like anything else, when something is new, we get a little intimidated to get started trying it. But don't be. Just go to ChatGPT, put in a good prompt, and see what it gives you.
Good.
Good? Okay. All right.
Okay, let me kill this real quick. Hold on a second.